Beef prices are at record highs. Now there are concerns they could increase even more because of the return of a parasite in southwest Texas that's threatening the cattle industry.
Yesterday, USDA confirmed 2 additional cases, one in Texas.
The only method that we're fighting it with is sterile flies, which do not work.
Restaurant owners trying to not pass that cost on to consumers.
Barbecue joints announce they're closing up shop.
Consumers are going to start backing off the amount of beef they eat.
Got him. Right in the head.
Born in the fire, raised in the smoke.
Last week at my ranch, I harvested this massive wild hog. And as we were cutting out the prime cuts, I said to myself, this is a good opportunity to cut out a brisket and see what happens if we smoke this brisket no different than you would a beef brisket. Of course, there's going to be some exceptions due to the amount of fat content in that meat. Wild boars are typically leaner than your typical domesticated pig. But in this case, we're going to treat it taking those elements into consideration while we cook it and see what happens. Here is the masterpiece. Here is the cut of the hour. Pork brisket. I'm sure meat packers make more money cutting pork butts, pork shoulders, and pork bellies than they would cutting out a brisket, because this is not a thing yet, right? So as you can see here, it's pretty lean. There is a nice little fat cap here. As you can see, here's about a 1/4 inch of fat. I did trim it somewhat. I'm not an expert meat cutter, and this is the best I could do out in the field, 3 o'clock in the morning, and limited space. But as you can see here, this is, and I can't remember how this was positioned in the chest, but anyway, this is a pork brisket. This is what we're going to cook, and we're going to try it out. Let's see what happens. I mean, this is an experiment, right? Many pit masters are looking for alternatives. Well, maybe this is one of them. So now for our rub. This is the rub I would normally use on a brisket. I like to take about a cup of sea salt. In this case, it's pink salt, not to be confused with curing salt. This is just regular pink salt. A cup of black pepper, coarse black pepper, and then a cup of Ranger seasoning. Essentially 3 equal parts. And so what I like to do as a trick is to add it to one of these shakers. You could actually just guess based on this here. You could actually guess the amount. But if you really want to be precise, you're more than welcome to use a cup measurer. Then we go ahead and close the lid tightly and you shake. Don't do what I've done where this is not securely fastened and boom, everybody's sneezing and coughing. This kind of reminds me of that commercial, the shake weight, you know. Pretty well blended now. What do you think? There you go. It's always helpful when you have a second person helping you record, because then they could hit that tracking button to then focus on this, not on this. And now we could start applying this to our brisket. Well, now that we have our rub that we mix together, so y'all have a better zoomed in look at what we're doing here. I'm gonna bring out my little gimbal here and give you that better close-up look of what we're doing. Let me see here. All right, so here's our seasoning, our rub, and what we're gonna do here is just sprinkle this onto your brisket. I still have to correct myself that this is not a brisket, but it is a brisket. All right, so now this is ready to throw in the smoker. We're gonna get our smoker up to temp. We're gonna do it at 225. Reason why, this is lean. We don't want to dry this up, and we're going to wrap it earlier. Typically, I like to wrap my briskets at 190, but in this case, I'm going to wrap it early at 160. Again, I want to maintain all that moisture in there. When I wrap it, I'm going to add fat to it. I may add bacon grease or beef tallow. I'm not sure. Either way, at 160, this thing is being wrapped with some sort of fat added to keep the moisture up. And so that is how we're treating this a little different. All right, good set of coals here. We added our wood. One of the things I like to do is crack this open all the way, but once I put the meat in here, I like to just crack it open a quarter of the way for the entire cook. But as of right now, I'm gonna open this up because we have fresh wood in there. I want this temperature to get hot. We are going to grab one of these probes and stick it in the fattiest portion. I guess here's a good spot. It's hard to, all right, there you go. So I guess the way I'm going to place this is the smoke is going to hit this way because this has most of the fat. I'm going to place it in the back here where it's a lot cooler than obviously closer to the firebox. So we're at just under 225. We'll crank up the heat a little bit more. I think we're going to pull it at 160 is when I'm going to do this wrapping. All right, here we are. We'll check on it here and there. We will spritz it with apple cider vinegar. All right, after a couple hours of roughly 1 or 2:25. Our brisket's already at 101 degrees internal temperature. So we're gonna spritz this. See how it's doing. It's actually not too bad. So once again, we're gonna pull this at 160, wrap it, put some Wagyu fat in it, or bacon fat, wrap it, put it back in there until it hits 190. So it's the next morning, and we actually got this done. Interestingly enough, we smoked it for 9 hours with post oak. I experienced an actual stall. I think it was between 130, 135. I hit a stall with this pork brisket. It took about an hour and a half to climb out of that stall. Um, Total time, like I said before, I wrapped it at 160. I added some beef tallow. I ended up going with beef tallow. Wrapped it up, put it back in there. Once I hit 190, I pulled it. So it's been resting for several hours now. Um, so here it is. It's nicely packaged. And the biggest challenge, like I said, since this is a wild boar brisket, it's a lot leaner than your regular pork. And so I had to treat this differently. I'm sure with a pork brisket, a regular pork brisket, I would treat it more like like a beef brisket. But since this was a lot leaner, my challenges were to keep moisture in place. Well, as the final reveal goes, we all know what brisket looks like. Um, we know that this smoked like brisket. You can see all this juice. The big question here is, can this actually replace beef brisket? And I tell you, I did not add this much fat to it. So here she is, a pork brisket. It's about a pound and a half. I think I started off with 2.5 pounds, but it has a nice, beautiful bark. It's nice and jiggly. Um, so the next thing is to try to slice it and see if there's other similarities to beef brisket. I think this, like I said before, I think this is the point and this is a flat. I could have this mixed, but you know what? Let's just cut it. And this is how y'all do this, right? What's it look like? It has a beautiful smoke ring all the way around here. This is a fattier portion, I could tell, just based on the fat layer. So I guess this is the point. It looks and feels like a brisket. So this is the point. Turned it over. Knife just slides right through there. Falls apart. This is what a lot of people like to do with brisket. Oh, does it do the drip test? Oh, look, it bends perfectly. That's all nonsense. It's what it looks like. It's more like what it tastes like, right? Wow. Wow. This does not taste like pork. As much as we know it is pork, it does not at all taste like pork. It's a weird thing happening right now. It's almost like if it almost, it's like a cow and a pig had a baby and they produced this hybrid, and then you cook it, and this is what this tastes like. This is so good. Wow. I can't stop eating this. This is so amazing. It's so soft. It has that beautiful crust, salty, peppery. I, I, yeah, this is amazing. Absolutely amazing. So we had several questions before we started this, which was, does it look like a brisket? I think it does look like a brisket. It has all the hallmarks of a brisket. It's just smaller. Does it taste like pork? Not really. Maybe if it's a domesticated pig, it might taste more porky. But as of right now, as a wild boar brisket, it does not taste like pork whatsoever. Um, would I do this again? Absolutely, 100%. I'm now curious to make a brisket from a domesticated pig. Fun fact though, this is not the only brisket I'm going to be attempting. I also have a venison brisket, and it was massive. So I took part of the neck muscles and the chest brisket, and I will be making another video like this, but only now with the whitetail brisket, and see how that turns out. But for right now, as of a pork brisket, this was awesome, and I will do it again. Uh, could a barbecue restaurant sell this? Absolutely. Wouldn't you want to try pork brisket? Most people would be like, well, heck, what would that taste like? Because most of that meat gets ground up into sausage. Um, so you really have to go through a specialty place. Or if you're like me, you go hunting, you go ahead and cut out what you think is the muscle groups related to that brisket, and then you cook it. But I think it would actually draw people. The biggest question now, due to how we started this video with the cost of beef going up, would Texas barbecue fans want to buy this? And I think they'll accept it. I think this is another alternative that's still within the same premise, same culture as Texas barbecue. I think that this is a home run. Absolutely. 100% untapped market. Will this ever replace beef brisket in Texas? I don't think so. If you want to try the same flavor profiles I used today with this wild boar brisket, check out Ranger and Comanche Moon seasonings from Just the Tip 1836.
Ain't just season, it's the way real folks cook. No fillers, no fluff, no sugar skies. Just
So good.
old Texas heat and truth you can't hide.
So good.
Built in a